to the Strathmore High School graduating class of 2020 and your families. We are your grad advisors, Miss Williams
and Miss Roberts.
We'd like to welcome you to the evening recognition and celebration event.
Though we won't be able to give you your high fives this year while lining you up in the hallway and leading you into the gym, we are so happy to be able to honor you tonight with the following presentation that our grad team has put together for you.
We hope you enjoy this very special and most memorable graduation event.
Congratulations, class of 2020. We miss you and we wish you all the best.
Hello, my name is Skylar Running Rabbit. I am the chief here at Strathmore High School, part of their chief and council, and today I will be reading the land acknowledgement. Strathmore High School is located upon the traditional Blackfoot territories of southern Alberta. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional territories that are part of Treaty 7, an agreement lasting for as long as the sun shines, the grass grows, and the river flows. Signed with the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprising of the Siksika, the Kainai, the Piikani, and the Blackfeet Nation of Montana. The Tsuut'ina Nation and Stoney Nakoda, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations, are also in Treaty 7. We are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today, and those who have gone before us. The province of Alberta is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta. Thank you.
My name is Darian Breaker. My Blackfoot name is Stone Woman. I'm the princess of Strathmore High School. I'll be reading the Blackfoot prayer. Creator, help us to listen, to be kind to one another, to try hard, to be honest, to be spiritual. Hear us, Creator, have pity on your children. They are in need. Grant us safety. Help us raise our families so that they may live long lives.
On behalf of Golden Hills School Division, we want to congratulate, a huge congratulations to the class of 2020. This has been the most unusual school year that maybe has ever occurred, not only in Alberta, but in Canada and the world. What a year to finish your high school career. What a year to go off in the world. Something to keep in mind, sometimes some of the most successful people in our world have had some of the unique circumstances that they've came from. So I want to wish all of you, as abnormal as this year has been, I want to wish you extraordinary success in your future as you move ahead. Good luck. Congratulations on getting to the end of high school, and all the very best for Golden Hills School Division in the next steps in your life. Good luck.
Grads of 2020, and you thought your graduation would be known for vision puns. I'm sure by now you're sick of commentary on it, so the only thing I'm going to say about the current state of affairs is it gives you a lot of time to think. I've been thinking about the word good. As with most simple words, it packs so much in few letters. There's so much to consider about being good. I have a good career. But a career is like a marriage or a friendship. It alters gradually. It grows and shifts like a living thing, not only through important moments and important dates. Perhaps you've noticed you don't suddenly grow a foot taller on your birthday. That's because change and growth aren't about single events, like a level up in a video game. Change is so gradual that you don't realize it until it's happened. Almost 3 years ago, I was at a point of change in my life and in my career. I like numerical serendipity, so consider, in the November of your grade 10 year, grads, I turned 40. 2002 was a year of great significance and gradual change for me. That was the year the majority of you were born. I've also found it amusing that you were born in 02 and you're graduating in 20. Like it or not, we make big clicks like 18 or 40 matter, even if they don't change much. And that fall of 2017, I had 2 grade 10 classes. They were probably no different than before. Maybe I was just in a sensitive place at an impressionable age, but I was captivated by the kids in those classes, by you and your peers. You showed a capacity for acceptance and understanding despite very diverse backgrounds. A pure lack of prejudice, a pure lack of stereotype. It's not that you didn't judge, but you judged an individual for who they were, what they did, not for where they came from or what they represented. I started noting it more, and it's been consistent these past 2 years in the grades beneath you. Perhaps it was always there, but you drew my notice to it, and it was good. It inspired an old man at a certain point in his career. The Roman philosopher, emperor, and poet Marcus Aurelius had words to this. What is your vocation? To be a good person. Someone please tell Mr. Laszlo that one of the greatest politicians and thinkers of all time was connected enough to his feelings that it made him better? Remember, kids, repression causes gigantism. You have helped me see goodness in new ways. Like how when you're working in class and someone sneezes, every single one of you doesn't even look up from your work and says, bless you. Is it sad that I miss being in the same room as someone who sneezes? Earlier this spring, I was supervising a gym cleanup at the end of a basketball tournament. I was helped by 4 of you, one an academic, one an actor, one an athlete, and one a class clown. And you 4 joked and laughed and shot the ball, a little like we do when we're so young we don't know how to gauge the difference between each other because we don't know it's there. It moved me, and it was good. That was a little thing, but there have been big things as well. If I mention tragedy, your high school years have been darkened enough that you may ask, which one? On one of those dark days where we cried in the hallways and stairwells, where we moved about in a daze, struggling for answers and to be there for one another, one of you walked up to me. She had seen the cracks, and she told me I needed a hug. She was right, and that was good. Turn on the news and you see the opposite everywhere. People who judge the group, people who vilify those who think and do differently, people who are incapable of not hating their opposite. We need you. We need your kind of good now, grads, your kind of hope. We need you to take this black mood that has settled over the world like a heavy blanket and rip it off. We need your light. Yes, that's pressure. But Marcus Aurelius also said, in simple terms, if it is not right, don't do it. If it is not true, don't say us. Lead us, show us, teach us. Hold the light of your goodness high and lead the way. How do you lead? You lead like you're running a cross-country race. Never let them see your front. Thank you.
Good evening, graduates, parents, and families. Before I really get going on my address to the class of 2020, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of the people who have taken an active role in ensuring that the students of Strathmore High School had some sort of a recognition ceremony today. A big thank you to the grad coordinators, Ms. Williams and Ms. Roberts, for all of their work with grad over the year, and particularly over the past 6 weeks. Mr. Laszlo, for all the time you have dedicated to making and posting videos throughout this whole COVID experience and your commitment to our students. Ms. Riley, for creating the senior superlatives and sharing and taking photos that has allowed us to do this. Ms. Larson and Ms. Romaniuk, for taking countless phone calls and providing answers to the many questions that we have had. To all of the speakers and special guests participating today, I thank all of you for your time and effort in helping us to ensure this event is memorable for the grads and their families. And finally, I would like to thank the parents and the families of today's graduates who have had an amazing amount of patience and grace with us as we have navigated through this experience in order to create a memorable day for the graduating class of 2020. 2020, what a great year to graduate. Seriously though, that is what I thought, and that is what each graduate thought when they planned and looked forward to this date anytime and every time that they thought about it. 2020 conjures up images of perfection. Simply ask anyone who has been in for an eye exam. 2020, it's what we hope the optometrist will tell us our vision is any time that we go to see them. Graduates, you have thought about the day that you will graduate from a very early age. It is such an incredible milestone that comes early in our lives and one that we will never forget being a part of. But graduates, having myself been a part of many graduation ceremonies, they tend to start to blend together. But not this year. No, not this year. The class of 2020 has proven to be like none other. As a school, we have been forced to break from our many traditions and yearly approaches in order to meet the needs of our students, our families, and our communities. Plato is often credited with coining the phrase, "Necessity is the mother of invention," which simply means, when put in a difficult situation, one is likely to be inspired to create a novel or ingenious solution. Now, as we all know, the past 3 months has certainly left us in a very novel situation. And as we have watched the news almost daily, hoping that the very best scientists, doctors, and researchers would come up with a vaccine to quickly change the path of the scenario that we find ourselves in. We have also created change that will almost certainly lead to lasting change for many of our lifetimes. Our common practices have adjusted to become less risky during this period of social distancing. For this, you need to look no further than our routine of grocery shopping. Aisles have become directionally indicated for us now. Marked feet on the floor indicate where we are allowed to stand while waiting in lines, and tellers work behind clear plastic shields. Now, these have all been simple steps to take in order to keep us safe. But we have also seen the creation of new products that also took hold during this pandemic. Prior to all of these events, I simply thought Zoom was Zoom Zoom. The first words in the catchy Mazda ads that made me want to own one of their fancy sport cars. But instead, Zoom has taken hold of industry and become one of the most common used forms of conducting meetings and doing business. Graduates, you are living in an unprecedented time when anything is possible. Even during one of the worst global pandemics in history, and certainly the worst one in our lifetimes, innovation and creativity continues to flourish and grow and will inevitably lead to solution. The positive thinkers continuously look forward to ways to improve situations and will in fact ultimately prosper and grow from them. Graduates, in the past we worried you were so attached to your phones and devices that you were missing out on each other, and that this trend of becoming isolated due to technology was incredibly disconcerting for us as adults. However, what we have learned as a result of the pandemic is that although we can stay connected through the use of these devices, it is our actual physical connection and ability to still speak and meet face to face with our friends and peers that has become so incredibly important to us. The organized meetings of small groups of friends in parking lots and outdoor spaces just so that you can see each other in person and stay connected has become more commonplace. Yet, even during these times, you have shown a commitment to following the directions of our health authorities so that we can begin to distance ourselves from the invasion that the situation has created in our daily lives. For this, you should also be commended. It is comforting to know that we have not lost that need for social connection and attachment that comes with doing that in person and not on our personal devices. Viola Davis, who is quite a bit more current than Plato, having won an Academy Award as recently as 2016, said, "If they say that necessity is the mother of invention, that is because you have two stark choices when you find yourself in a really desperate situation. You can either A, fold and cave into it, or B, become really passionate about getting out of it." Well, grads, the commitment and steps that you have all taken this year truly shows that you are passionate about getting out of it. You have demonstrated to all of us that no matter the situation, you will succeed and you will shape and impact the world as a result of your determination and resiliency. As Chuck Swindoll so eloquently put it, we are all faced with a series of great opportunities that are brilliantly disguised as impossible situations. Who you are and the accomplishments that you have achieved can never be overshadowed by the situations that you find yourselves in. I commend this class for their commitment to excellence. When I called Luke Schramp to let him know that he was this year's valedictorian with an average of nearly 99%, it was humbling to hear Luke's delight and pride in this accomplishment, and one that was so well deserved. What I failed to let Luke know was that he was one of 4 students with an average of over 94% this year. Absolutely stunning, the commitment that so many from this class have had to excellence. But that commitment to excellence, it does not apply only in academics, but in the arts and the athletics. This is without question one of the most high-achieving graduating classes that I have ever seen. And again, I want to commend you all for your efforts and dedication to your passions and your interests. In doing a recent TA podcast with Daniel Mulder and Luke Schramm, they both shared that they realized how much they valued school and the opportunities that school has given them. But what they really shared was how important it is to appreciate where you are when you are there. Grads, be appreciative of the many situations that you will be in and make the most of each of them. Don't be in a hurry to get to the next point and let the one that you are currently in pass you by. As I conclude this year's address to the class of 2020, I would like to leave you with another thought from Chuck Swindoll. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. I know that this pandemic has thrown a curveball at all of us this year, but class of 2020, I call on you to stay true to yourselves and to not allow the 10% of what happens to you determine that 90% of what you can become and what you can achieve. Don't let your situation define you. Please ensure you are defined by what you do and by what you accomplish. Congratulations, graduates, class of 2020.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, parents, teachers, friends, and my fellow graduates. And a happy Saturday to Mr. Carlson. Looks like the shoe's on the other foot now. On behalf of the class of 2020, I'd like to start by acknowledging all the wonderful people who made this moment possible for both myself and my classmates. To the parents whose invaluable contributions have helped so many of us get to where we are today. The teachers whose passion for sharing knowledge has been instrumental in our academic careers. The custodians, the coaches, the friends, the siblings, and to everyone who made this moment possible for us, we thank you. The great Brian Fantana once said, 60% of the time, it works every time. And I think that embodies what high school is all about. We as students have tried, we've failed, we've persevered through everything that's been thrown at us, and I can confidently say that we've worked every single time. At least 60% of the time. When we walked in these doors 3 short years ago, we were just kids with no real expectations for what was to come next. Now, nearing the end of our senior year, many of us, including myself, are still just kids with little to no clue as to what the future holds. That being said, these 3 years have been far from useless. They brought many successes, hardships, insights, and lessons. They've been a time for self-development, reflection, and realization. We've been able to carve out new pieces of our identities, and although the uncertainty still exists, we've learned. And we've learned a lot. We've learned how to solve equations, analyze texts, write essays, and pretend that we understand Shakespeare. I'm sorry, Miss Trump. However, the process of learning has extended far beyond any classroom, as the very journey of being a high school student has provided its own set of new insights and ideas. And in retrospect, we were always learning and growing from our experiences in high school, even if we're still just kids who like to have fun. I can recall a conversation I had with Mr. Sonstaby in grade 11. We discussed the stresses and expectations that came along with being a high schooler and how to manage and balance those factors. A realization I made in that moment was that my responsibility as a 16-year-old was not to try to be perfect or to be cool or anything like that, but simply to enjoy the moments around me. And if there's 2 takeaways I have from my time here at Strathmore High School, the first is that having 9 toes cannot hold you back and stop you from getting that diploma. Congratulations, Quaid. I'm proud of you. The second is that there's no substitute for the time spent with friends, along with the hours of learning, and that occasional feeling of being completely lost and having no clue what you're doing. But as we move forward, I'm sure there's still much to learn, many mistakes to make, and many opportunities to take advantage of. I must say that I'm excited to see all the amazing things that my classmates move on to in these coming years. And with that in mind, let us take these years of hard work as a foundation for the hopefully bright futures that lie ahead of us. And be sure to always remind ourselves of the fact that there's no goal too crazy, no dream too big, no challenge too difficult, and as Mr. Laszlo once said to our basketball team after a bad first half, you gotta take your fear out to the shed like old Yeller. Well said, Mr. Laszlo. Now I want to close off by saying how proud I am to be alongside all of my classmates, and I encourage everyone to celebrate their accomplishments and hard work, regardless of the current circumstances we find ourselves living in. Don't let an unfortunate roadblock stop you from appreciating yourself and all of your wonderful achievements. And if you're Chase Doll, certainly don't let it stop you from throwing on your biggest, nicest belt buckle or bolo tie, whatever you're feeling, and partying with your family. To all my friends and classmates, congratulations. As Ron Burgundy once said, I'm kind of a big deal. And to the class of 2020, I think you're a big deal. Stay classy, Strathmore High School. Thank you.